Hi, I'm Lynn with Blue Knight Rubber Stamps, and today I want to share with you some of the products we carry in our web store. Of course, we have lots of beautiful stamps, but we also carry some products that will enhance your card making. It makes it easy to color and to add a little bit of bling and to put beautiful skies into your cards. So let's get started. So we have a brand new product. It's the reverse cloud stencil. So our original cloud stencil is what you usually see, where you put a little bit of blue and then the negative is the white, and that's the cloud, and you can see how that works. So I'm going to go over that real quick just so you can see how that works again. I usually start from the top and then work my way down. You see little clouds and then big puffy clouds, and you can use whichever one you like the best. I kind of like the little clouds the best. I also like the tumbled glass distress ink to use for my sky because it's light. But the broken china works well, and if you want a very dramatic darker sky, you can use darker. I did forget. So when you use the blue, you do want to tap off a little bit. And then I'm just going to swirl it across the top. Now, it's always a little bit shocking how dark it actually is, and if you hold your finger down, you can take a sneak peek and see, yeah, there's pretty good coverage. If you want it darker, you can just keep going. So then when you want to continue, you pull it down and then you shift it over. And I like to say I do my mountains with my valleys, and then you just go over the top a little bit. You don't want to go all the way up because you'll lose your white puffy clouds. We're going to shift it again. This is just really a very fast technique. And you can also, if you already have you have your stamped colored and you just want to do the sky, then you're just going to tap around your image. And that's another reason I like this light blue. It's so light that you usually can't see if you happen to go over a little bit. But if you are concerned about that, then you would just do a little bit of masking. Anyway, so, and at the bottom I like to put a little bit of blue just so it looks like you have sky before the clouds start. And that's your super fast cloudy sky. So now we're going to move on to the new product, and we're going to do the reverse cloud stencil. So obviously we're going to need something that's not white, so you're going to have to do this on colored cardstock. So what I like to do best is to do it on watercolor designer paper, and you can do it with ink or you can do it with the pan pastel. So I'm going to show both ways to you. And I've experimented a little bit to get the best results. And so when you do it, you want to go all the way across the top, but you want to blend down into it a little bit as well, so you don't get just a straight line and it really does look like puffy clouds. The other thing is, I realized when you use the picket fence distressed ink, it shows up darker as it dries. So don't worry too much if you don't see it right away. All right, same principle. You're going to shift and dab it across. And this, we're going to bring it down again because we don't want to go all the way into the clouds, but we don't want to have just a line of ink. And it's the reverse. Everything is just reverse. I'm going from bottom, so I'm not smearing my ink as I go down. And we're just going to go all the way across. Same thing, if you feel like you need to take a little peek, you just lift it up, you just make sure that you hold it real good. If you did forget to hold it, you really can just line it back up again and get it right where you need it. I think we're gonna do one more. And it gives you a very light, cloudy sky. Now I am going to stamp on this so you can see. I actually did it a few times, and I really think that I prefer the pan pastel. And actually, oh, I wanted to use the bears. It's over here. Wait a minute. So the problem with using the ink that I find is that a lot of your paper is absorbent, but once you put the ink on it, it's less absorbent. And so when you're putting black ink on top of it, sometimes you can see your clouds through it. And there is a way to work around that, but you have to be willing to do that. So I think you can't really see it there, but I can see it from where I'm sitting. I can actually see my clouds right through the bears. So the way to work around that would be to emboss, and that works fine. But if you don't really want to emboss, then you might want to use the pan pastels. But even with those, sometimes the embossing gives you a better coverage. But you can see that just gives a very nice, light, cloudy look. So now I want to show you with the pan pastels. Okay, so with the pan pastel, again, you're going to use your little egg-shaped makeup sponge. That's really nice to use with making clouds because you don't really get any lines. And same thing, I'm just going to try to blend it into the paper a little bit so it doesn't have any lines. And we're going to shift it. I'm just blending it a little bit with the other side of it so you don't have a clear, distinct starting and stopping point. So just like with the ink, we're going to go all the way up. I think do one more. And there you have your nice, soft, fluffy clouds. And we're going to stamp on that as well. Now I have tried sealing it first, and especially on the designer paper, then you have a very coated surface, and I had trouble getting the ink to stick to the paper right. So I do prefer to seal my pan pastel clouds after I do the stamping. And you can see already much better coverage. I think I'll go stamp it one more time. And just because the designer paper is slick, it did pull a little bit of the ink off, I would just fill that in and then re-stamp, or then do the embossing with it. And I did want to show you some cards that I did ahead of time. So I went ahead and embossed these, and that just evens out all of the coverage. So, wait a minute, these are just papers. Now, I did want to warn against, if you're doing it on too light of a cardstock, see, you can see the clouds from a certain angle, but you really can't see them that well. So I did some on some plain cardstock, plain colored cardstock, and it shows up really well, but it's a little bit of a plain card. So that's why I just thought when you use the designer paper, it just adds, and it's a little bit of a cheat, but that's okay. I added a little bit of stars with a white jelly pen to this one, and I felt like that made it look a little bit less plain as well. And then there's the bears, and I don't know if you can see that, I can see that. So this one I did with ink, and you can actually see the clouds right through the bears. And same thing there, you can see the clouds through the bears. So they're just different examples of what you can do, and I just thought it might make it a little bit easier because you don't have to think in reverse when you're actually putting the clouds on your sky. Anyway, I've enjoyed playing with our new cloud stencil. I hope you will too. And I hope you will try out all of our other products that enhance our stamps. Happy stamping!